Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I wanted to talk to you about part of the Infinite Warfare campaign that I got to see on my most recent trip to Infinity Ward that I'm just going to call the Asteroid mission because this campaign level does not have a finalized name, but it's one of the most unique Call of Duty levels that I have ever seen, and I wanted to talk a lot about it today. The gameplay you're going to get to see is me using the M8A7 here on Infection. Little aside, for some reason, I was just never able to get my M8A7 to work properly. I get that it's a competitive gun, pros use it, a lot of people love it. I just plain hate it and struggle with it, though I am going to do very good in about the last two-thirds of the game. So the Asteroid mission starts off with the SDF, or Settlement Defense Front, being the bad guys, and one of the things they do to inflict terror on the rest of the galaxy is to sometimes fling asteroids into the sun with people still stuck on them. So in this future, there are people on mining colonies on asteroids that mine the asteroids for resources that we can then use on Earth and other planets. And what the SDF does as an act of terrorism to instill fear into people, that's the correct word, is that they go to the planet, destroy all of their ships, all of their escape methods, hack the robots, the mining robots, to turn them deadly so they can't call for help, and then finally put a booster pack on the asteroid itself and fling it into the sun. So if you're on this asteroid, you just get to sit there and ride it out as it's flung into the sun over a couple of days and weeks. And this particular level picks up after the main attack and after this asteroid has been flung into the sun, but has been unable to receive help for a significant period of time. And it's a kind of an oblong asteroid, and it's rotating, and it's fairly close to the sun, kind of like Mercury. So you've probably seen this in some of the press releases and some of the devs talking about it. When you're in the daylight portion of it, it's extremely hot, like 500 degrees Celsius or 600, something like that. Burn you alive, melt most of your equipment, kill you in seconds. However, when you're in the shade part of it, it's extremely cold, but thankfully you can function in the cold and still move around and not die. So we've basically got very extremes of daytime and nighttime, and it's going to vary every couple of minutes because it's spinning so fast. And the way the mission plays is that you basically need to huff it from safe zone to safe zone as fast as possibly can because it's asteroids rotating and you don't have a lot of time. To add a little bit of extra chaos to this, all of the mining robots have been hacked and they're put into this sort of berserk mode where they're kind of like zombie robots. They're like melee attack people. They come at you mostly with hands and drills, but sometimes mining tools, and they just kind of flood in. I think it's some sort of like safety or defense protocol that's been turned against the miners. However, in this fiction, they are solar powered, so during the nighttime of the asteroid, because apparently this thing was designed to always face the sun before it was flung into space, during the nighttime they shut down and don't work, and you can move freely. So, but during the day, they all turn on, they activate, and they just kind of go ape and just kind of flood you, just kind of like, reminded me a lot of Chaos Mode from MW3. So this whole mission plays essentially you hopping from safe zone to safe zone on the asteroid while trying to survive the robots. So it would start off during nighttime, you land, you explore, and then the sun rises and you and your squad get attacked by a whole ton of crazy robots. Now once you've survived this attack, you are able to move on to the next zone, but it's a timed kind of thing, just like escaping the ship in Modern Warfare Remastered or COD 4. If you do it too slow, you will die and burn up, and you can't stop halfway and sit under a rock. And as far as I'm aware, there may be multiple ways to go, so you kind of have to guess how long the rotation is going to take. And the rotations will be a little different as you get closer to the sun because, I don't know, gravity or space physics or whatever. And you're just kind of trying to survive each one of these waves of crazy robots, and they get crazier and crazier as you go. And the goal, of course, is to save the miners. You find that there's a group of a couple hundred miners that's holed up on the other side of the asteroid, or at least of the other side of the base. So you want to get over there. They've kind of like locked themselves in a storage room or like a giant hangar. You want to get over there and bust them out and take them back to your ship to safety. So you got to huff it all the way across the asteroid, get to these people, and then you have to escort this group of people all the way back across through the hordes of zombies, zombie robots, and crazy stuff like that to escape. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you, this is one of the craziest ideas for a mission that I've ever heard of in Call of Duty history. I just was not expecting this at all. Like, I'd seen the press junket about the rotating asteroids, and I thought that would just be, you know, you fighting baddies on the asteroid and taking cover on occasion. But this was was totally different, and it also had a very different tone than the other missions. So just watching it, this mission was channeling some serious Aliens the movie vibes, like the James Cameron one, or maybe even the Ridley Scott one before that. Like, I really more like Aliens, the one with Michael Biehn and Bill Paxton and all those guys in it, because instead of being an action mission, instead of being like an in-your-face one, it was really more of a scary mission. In the first couple of bits, the robots kind of come at you through the floor and ceiling, and they jump out like the Boo jump scares or whatever, but it's in this steely chrome, like dusty kind of place that you can't see very well in, and you're very reliant on the flashlight. And then as it progresses, you get bigger and bigger hordes of robots that become scary just based on their sheer numbers. Very similar to the Aliens movie, and even the guy giving the presentation just straight out told us this was inspired by the Aliens movie. So it is a surprisingly scary feeling level for a Call of Duty game. Call of Duty games before have had intense levels, they've had stealth levels, dramatic levels, but not a level that is intentionally designed to actually be scary in any sort of sense, so it was very different in that regard. Overall, the level looks really fun. As my inner sci-fi nerd absolutely loves the idea of it, and the story guys pitched it as being grounded because the core of the story is trying to save people's lives and survive like an onslaught. And I'm also pretty sure that this is a side mission. One of the things we'll talk about in a different video later this week is the campaign has the main storyline, but you also have a bunch of side missions that you can pick and do for various rewards or for various reasons. And as far as I'm like 90% sure this Asteroid mission is some sort of side mission, and that doing it gives you some sort of reward. There's some other fun facts I'd like to talk about, such as locations for campaign. We were talking to the people, they were confirmed, obviously, missions on Earth, you've already seen that one. There is spaceship warfare where you walk around on the surface of the spaceship, but there are also planned levels either in the main campaign or side levels for the moon, for Mars as in the planet Mars, the big red one, Europa, which if you're not familiar with, I think is a moon of Jupiter, and it is the place on planet Earth most likely to harbor life because it's got an active ocean underneath a thick layer of ice, and it's got active geothermal vents. So a lot of people are interested in Europa. I was correct that there will be combat on Titan, and of course other asteroids, and the gravity is going to vary a little bit on this here. And when I say gravity, I don't mean that you're going to jump and fly away. They worked really hard on giving you like these magnetic suction cup boots so that you stick to the ground, but it'll affect everything else. Like when you kill people, bodies can float off, or when you throw grenades, they have different physics and stuff like that, but people won't be flying. Guys, that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something useful. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.